What's up, great people, and welcome to another episode of the Fabe Effect Podcast, Season 2. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm your boy Fabe, and I'm here with an amazing topic on today. You know it's homecoming season. You know it's HBCU season. I'm excited because I have some of the top of the line people at HBCUs from past, present, and future. We have the Divine Nine in the building. Yes, I'm repping my org today, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, but I'm here with some of the most elite Greeks that I have met in my life. Some people that I really admire in their organizations and what they've done for their organizations in the time they've been in them. From being a new member to being someone who's 10 plus years in, I just love to see people that are committed to the cause of their organization. And so I brought four of my favorite people that are part of Divine Nine, and we're gonna keep it real today. We're going to take down the barrier. I'm telling you right now, if you're sensitive, if you're in your feelings, all that stuff, you may not want to watch this podcast. You may not want to listen in because we're going to keep it 100 today. We're talking about HBCU life. We're talking about Greek life because a lot of times people don't realize that the Greek life is kind of the culture of HBCUs. We kind of set the tone of the campus. We lead in our communities. We become members of organizations that were planted years before we were even born. And now we're in a climate where you have people in states that are trying to ban our organizations. You have people who are calling themselves getting out of the organization, denouncing the organization in public, online. Just so many things going on, and we're afraid that it kind of takes away from what the organization means and what it really stands for and what we do in this world, because 75% of lawyers are a part of the Divine Nine. 85% of doctors, the black doctors, are a part of the Divine Nine. Actresses, directors, Divine Nine. We're represented in so many avenues of the world. And I believe that we kind of help make the world go round. But we have to get a hold on what's going on in today's climate and being Greek in today's society. And what does that mean to us? What does that mean to people who aspire to be Greek? And what does that mean to our forefathers, those who paved the way and planted these organizations on this ground? And we're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it a buck. I like to say we're going to keep it a thou wow. So I want to first get into introducing my panel. I want them to introduce themselves, and not just introduce themselves, but also tell why did they join the organization that they joined. And so we're going to start off with my brother that's to my right. Brother, introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
Well, I'd like to introduce myself as Chris. My mama named me Christopher, but y'all don't call me Christopher. I go by Chris. I play as Beta Psi Spring '09 at Clark Atlanta University, and I'm a part of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Why did I join my organization? So I actually grew up locally in Atlanta. I'm from Decatur, Georgia.
Where's greater?
There you go, Decatur where it's greater. So growing up, there was a lot of Greeks in my community, at my school, my church. And one Greek, one esteemed gentleman, was my first basketball coach. And I saw him at 6 years old wearing all this purple and all this gold. And y'all know, you don't know what's going on. You just kind of like, all right, cool, I'm just going to hoop. Yeah. But that became a lifelong friendship, and he was like a second father to me. So Reverend Stephen Dow, who plays the NE chapter, Alabama State, is the reason why I wanted to join my organization. And
awesome. The
things I saw him doing, serving the community, I also saw other Omegas doing at that time, coaches, teachers, doctors, principals, lawyers. And I saw that in myself. I saw myself being a leader at a young age, and I said, you know what? I like them colors too.
Yeah,
so we can rock with it. But that's the reason why I initially wanted to join my organization, and I'm proud, glad that I did so.
Awesome, brother.
Hey.
Hey,
everybody. I'm Bree. I am a proud member of the sweet Alpha Pi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Spring '07, Ocho Confessions over here. Yeah. So I chose to join my sorority because it's really all that I knew. My mother is a very dedicated member.
Very dedicated member.
Yes, she is.
Come on,
that is
dedicated.
the AKA. She played the 1975 Summer Breeze, Precious Devil.
Summer Breeze.
Yeah, shout out, hey mommy. And she just always had a lot of amazing women around me. And honestly, not just AKs, right? I have aunties that are Deltas. I have Alphas that I grew up around and everything. But my mom was so dedicated to her sorority. And I just saw the service aspects. I saw the type of women that came through, that she got to mentor, the people that mentored her. I was an AKA team. And specifically when I came to Clark Atlanta University, Just the ladies that are in my chapter were just exceptional to me. They were the creme de la creme, honestly. Like, they just really were amazing. They were my OGs. They were mentors to me. They were involved in everything on campus. They looked fly. They were dope. They were cool. Everybody loved them. And so I was like, I got to be a part of that.
Awesome.
All right, hello. I'm Maurice Love Jr. I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, CPAC Spring 23. So I'm a Neo.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. I'm still way behind the years. Yeah. So the reason why I joined Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated is my dad. My dad influenced me a lot.
Awesome.
I'm from Plains, Georgia, middle of nowhere. Divided by a crossroad. They on that side, we on this side. Not many opportunities. So I feel like I just want to be around a group of brothers that lead and show me the way. My dad and his brothers, they real tight, real close. Like, they was able to check me out of school, basketball games, football games. They was always there. And nice colors. I love these colors. So, so that's why I joined.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, my name is Brandy Mallory. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Sigma chapter is where I cross, Spring 11. I'm D31 on that line with 2 E's. Don't play with it. I put the 31s on. I love you every one day. I'm just playing. It's going to go left.
Shout out to 09.
But for me, I would say I had to dig deep. I grew up, I got like 4 aunts that are AKAs. I got a cousin that's a Kappa. Outside of that, that was the Greek life I knew. And I remember going, when I got into Clark, I went home with my dad, and he told them I was going. And they were like, okay, when you get there, we going to be ready to write your letter, and we'll sponsor you. Let us know when you're ready. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what's going on. And I got to Clark, Atlanta, and I was like, I remember sitting right outside the student center, and I saw Pinky and Brooke, and they was ooping each other, and I was like, what's that? And I saw the way they greeted each other. Next thing I found out, Brooke was Miss Senior that year, and I think Pinky was Miss Sophomore. And I was like, okay, so they doing stuff on campus. And as I matriculated, that's a word I learned at Clark Atlanta, okay? We're just going to educate while we educate.
Yeah, right.
But while I was matriculating, I just paid attention. And I saw the events that the Deltas were doing, and I was like, okay, I want to see what this organization is about. So I actually went and did research, and I'm looking stuff up, and I'm like, oh, they like to call us movers and shakers. And I believe that. We shake tables. We're not finna play with you. And I feel like we're straight shooters. And a lot of times, for me, I need to be around those type of people. So
there we go.
When I sat back and looked at it, I was like, man, Shirley Chisholm? I didn't, of course, my mom's Caucasian, so I didn't grow up learning all the beautiful things about being African American. My dad didn't really talk about that. He was talking about how, man, we spend so much money. We buying everybody else's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Instead of making our own, but it was never the uplifting things. And so as I'm, again, doing this research, I just noticed that the women that were doing things politically to advance America in the time where it was desperately needed were a lot of Deltas and in those pivotal moments. And I was like, I think this is for me, because that aligned with what it was that I wanted to represent as a Black person.
Awesome. I love all those answers. I'm going to give my quick answer. I have an uncle. He's actually married into our family. My aunts are Deltas. There's a lot of Deltas in my family. And a lot of my uncles are Alphas. But at this time, I was about 14, so I didn't really know. But I helped him move one day, and they were moving their stuff, and I was like, my auntie, she makes paraphernalia. So I saw all this Greek stuff, and I'm asking, like, what's this? I saw the black and gold. I'm like, what's this one? She was like, go ask your uncle what this one is. So I went in there. I was like, what's this? I'm holding it. He said, first of all, give me that.
Yeah. First, like, get it out your hand.
Yeah. And he said, you want to know what alpha is? When you find out what a man is, that's what alpha is. And I was like, man, that was such a simple answer, but that just really made me like think like, dang, like the whole mankind is alpha. Like I'm just like, what? And so, but just how he moved, and I just kept watching him all the time. And it was like, yeah, I got to be alpha. In the 11th grade, it came back up. And I found out in 11th grade that Martin Luther King was Alpha. I was done. I was like, yeah, let me know where I go sign the paper. I need to be where Martin Luther King is. But then, like Bree said, when I got to Clark Atlanta, there were 4 Alphas on the yard. 4. But I promise you, you would have thought it was 55 of them. Because those 4 men, like, just did so much. And I was just like, I literally used to, like, walk towards the direction, and I see them, I'm like, I turn the other way, like, oh, find somewhere to go, because they'll be with AKs. It'd be like a well-dressed Wednesday or something. They'll all be dressed up.
To the nines.
Yes,
Okay.
like, I'm like, I got on sweats and hoodie. I had to go the other way. So it was just like, that definitely was like, I was like, that was the standard for me. But just Greek life as a whole, I always knew that I wanted to be Greek, and I found out early what I wanted to be. So I went into college like already knowing I didn't care what school I went to, I wanted to be an Alpha. Kind of like you, Chris, said, like it wasn't a factor of what, it was when.
When, right.
And so, that was my reason. But I want to get into this conversation. I don't want to hold people too much longer, because I want them to understand why we are here. So as members of the Divine Nine, and just as members of the HBCU culture, why do you feel like people go to college these days? A lot of times people say, oh, you're just going for the experience, you're just going to be Greek. And in some cases that could be true for some people. But is that a bad thing? Is it wrong for, I guess you could say, HBCUs kind of to market education in this social aspect? Before we go into the Greek conversation, I want to really talk about the schools that we attend, because a lot of times we go to HBCUs for that experience, for that culture, and you get there and Greek life is kind of like 75% of the culture. Yeah. So, like, why do you think that is how HBCUs are marketed? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What you feel?
Well, I think that's a good question, one, because we can only really speak for like our time on the yard and on campus. And I think one of the key things that drives that is HBCUs are in the spotlight now, right? And, a lot of times we talk recently about Dion and his contributions at Jackson State, but HBCUs have always been the soul, really, of Black culture. And I remember, I was talking earlier about my mentor. I remember a conversation he and I had actually a few months ago before he passed. And he told me, he said, I never thought about this way. But when I was in college, this is what he's telling me. He said, my dorm mates, my line brothers, they are first generation, back in the 80s, first generation college graduates. So now that HBCUs have gotten like a couple of generations in, it is time for us to be marketed in a way in which we need that endowment too, right?
Yeah.
We need those corporate sponsors as well. So what better way to do it than the Divine Nine? Our organizations are all almost 100 years old, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, we have been the heart and soul of the campus, what we like to call the yard. So I think that it's a good thing, because we should be the leaders. We should be the esteemed men and women of the campus. And what we do should set the tone. And that's the way it's been. And I think that we should continue to market it that way.
That's great. That's great. That's true.
Yep.
I think whatever's positive that gets these students in the door, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, being on campus, I know I was one of the ones who stepped all the time. So I would literally be asleep because I didn't have class until 10:30 or something. And I would get a call from my line sister, and she'd be like, Bree, can you come up to, because I lived right around the corner. She'd be, can you come up to campus? Some students are here for a college tour, and they just want to see some stepping. And I'd have to throw on some, literally wake up, brush my teeth. If I was lucky, throw on a T-shirt and then come on campus, step, and go back home, Yep. And it's like, for some people, they may come to, you hear people say all the time, oh, I was on this college tour, and I saw this fine brother, and I just knew I had to come to Clark Atlanta. And if that's what got you to come to college, sis, you can't. I'm sure that's not all you did. Once we get you there, we get to mold you right. and help you become, class leaders and pageant queens and involved in radio and involved in your business schools and whatever you're doing. But we're definitely the people that I think get these students to come and be excited about college.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that college is about the experience of it. Like, truthfully, I know you're there to get the paper at the end of it, But I really feel like college and the lessons that you learn while you're in college, the people that you interact with while you're in college, all of these things are things that you're going to take past leaving once you graduate into this new job role that you're taking. Like, these are all things you'll be able to take. So why not take the elite, the student leaders? Why not use those people to market?
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the people that, I mean, you want to grease those people up. They look good because when you get to campus,
they set the tone.
exactly. When you
Set
get to
the tone.
campus, these are the people
That's most visible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But can I piggyback on that? So my experience is a little bit different. I started at a PWI, so that's
Look, all of us like,
yeah. So,
Right.
you know,
The diversity.
Right.
Wow, really? How was that? Let's discuss.
Right.
So I mean, being at Clark, it kind of opened up my eyes, like understanding more about myself and my purpose. I always tell people when I was at a point, I was like the right person in the wrong room. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be like I was over there and then I played sports. I played undergrad, so it wasn't like, how you doing? It's like, hey, did y'all win the game?
Get y'all win the game.
Right.
It was like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
how I'm doing mentally.
They put you in a place.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure,
Right.
for sure.
Right.
So when I got here, and I'm still, fixing myself along the way. But when I got here, I started to understand more like, oh man, these people are really here to help me, or they're really trying to help me succeed in life, and everybody's here to do the same thing. So why not at HBCU?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a great thing. Keep pushing it.
I think a lot of times people play it down because of the impact it's having. Like you said, it's forefront now.
Yep.
And I think when we were in school, 15 years ago, aging us,
Don't age us.
it was getting there, but we
it wasn't
still
there.
had those dorms that wasn't kind of working on it. It wasn't that, but now HBCUs are getting to a place where these campuses are nice. Like I tell people, I brag all the time about the landscaping of Clark. Like they do not play about the landscaping. And I remember when I was in school, it was a couple patches.
Right.
But now you're not gonna catch a patch. You're not gonna,
Right.
So I think they're investing in the universities, and now I believe that it takes some of the people that was in those core, moments of HBCUs, 2000s, late 90s, to kind of come back, and because I think we're getting them there now. But are they representing?
Yeah.
Are they able to get on, the news? Are they able to go and represent the organization when we're battling against social media? We're battling against, getting famous. People are going to these cities so they can get famous or get into these clubs and all this things. So we're battling against that. So my next question goes into in Greek life, the difference, like what has changed to you in Greek life. And I'm like I said, we're going to keep it 100. And I'll start us off. I think the biggest thing for me that has changed is the respect for the organizations. Like, not just from the people that want to be a part of the organization or the campus, but from the members inside of it. Yeah. Like, it's almost like, you can, I know for me, I'm an advisor of an undergrad chapter, and I'm telling you now, it's not nothing that you want.
Okay, brother advisor.
I don't want you. No,
Big said, this ain't what you want. This ain't what you want.
Really, I'm fulfilling the legacy of my advisor who passed away, and I'm trying to.
Amazing.
And every day I'm like, Cardi,
How?
you gonna have to come in,
Okay.
because I'm about to tap out.
They don't know.
But no, seriously, and I think it's the respect of, what it meant. That's why that question of why is so important. And I tell people all the time, don't give me no answer of that you feel like it's going to sound biblically. No, I need to know why. Even if your why is, I just think y'all dope. Like, start somewhere. At least I know your truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think people are getting into the organizations now, and it's like almost like a social club.
It's
It's like
something to do.
yeah, it's like, okay, if I feel like doing it today, I'll do it.
finally did it.
Yeah, and then
Right.
tomorrow,
Right.
I don't feel like being in the office today, so get away from me. And it's like, I didn't have that option. It wasn't an option about when I felt like
Oh no, you
being
had to.
in it. It was
Wow,
like
I'm
Well, we
a part
talked
of.
about those people.
Yeah.
We would talk about the t-shirt
Yeah.
wearers.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about y'all.
And
We talked about y'all. Like, because we didn't do that.
And we knew who you were.
But and we knew. Everybody
Publicly.
knew. Everybody in every
Not just
organization
not
was
just
like,
the
yeah,
yours, you knew
organization.
yeah,
all the t-shirt
yeah,
wearers.
there might have been one or two, but now it seems like it's
so many more.
And I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Let's get
it.
I feel like just in general. And when did you cross again? 20.
I'm still wet behind the ears.
Oh Lord. Okay, so you don't take offense to this.
I'm not.
But I feel
This
like
year.
here's the thing. I feel like and I sound so old saying this,
It's
but
okay.
kids, right? Like, I'm in my 30s, so a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old, you're kind of a kid still, a young adult. I feel like it's just a lack of care for what you have. Like, I think we realize, like, yo, these organizations are over 100 years old. Like, we have to handle this with care. This is a delicate thing. We were never perfect on campus, but we took pride in being like, yeah, everybody can't do this. Everybody can't be a part of our organizations. You know what I mean? It's very special. It's very unique. It's only for the elite of elite, like Brandy said. So it's like, when you just see nowadays, I feel like the youngins just kind of be like, oh, well, it was something to do and that was fun and whatever. And like I said, I feel like majority of people, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but I feel like a lot of times some people might think that a lot of them, more of the majority of the chapters are more t-shirt wearers. It's just, hey, this was something cute. I look cute on the gram and social media, you know.
No, look, this person gonna talk to me now.
Yeah, or very superficial, very superficial. And it's like, where's the work? Where's the
What do you think changed though?
I think honestly,
the world.
I'm
sorry.
I think
it's just the climate of
it's the way people are raising their kids. I'm just going to be honest with you. Everything starts with the foundation that you have, and whether you have one or not.
Pass the
so when you go in, when you go into college, when you go into any situation, and this may sting, okay, I knew who I was before.
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
I became a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I knew who I was. I know whose I was.
Come on.
So when you have people denouncing, I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It doesn't make sense to me. I be befuddled. Because I'm like, what's going on here? But everybody's walk with God is their walk with God. I'm not here to judge, but I am confused. Confusion is I. But then it also goes into the work ethic. My mama and daddy, they just didn't play that. And there were consequences to not doing certain things. Right. It was consequences not coming home with A's. I'm not even going to play with you. Yep. Like, I got a 90. Why didn't you get 100? Yep. But it's an A. But it's not 100. So what could we have done to get there? When you have somebody training you up like that with that kind of mentality, that means you expect greatness when you walk into any space. Right. Which means you're going to go for great things. You're going to try things out. Like, I take pride in knowing that, I want to say Traversa was the first plus size woman that was on the Royal Court. I take pride in being the second. Yeah. Okay? Because that's something that subculture, it's a space that you're told is not for you. Yeah. So when I come into a space, I'm coming in to fuck shit up. I'm coming in to wreck shop. I'm coming in to like disturb the energy. Yeah. And in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when I talk about it, I'm saying it all starts at home and how you're raised and the things that people have made you feel comfortable with. And nobody has sat you down and told you that's not cool. Yeah.
And I agree with that. And I think that my answer is a little bit more, and I'm always a community first person. So I always think of us as black people because we have different beliefs. We come from different areas. We have different makeup, right? But the one thing we have in common is our identity of being black. And one thing about that is when you come to school, you go to college, there are people that are black that are from different states, different areas, right? And they got different beliefs as well. But where you're from and how your parents raised you a long time ago was so much closer aligned than the way it is now.
Correct.
And, you know, these organizations that we're a part of are going to evolve. And that's to be expected because, of course, our profiles probably saw us do some things on campus that they was like, wow, you wouldn't catch me dead doing that. Correct. Right? Yeah. Well, we changed the culture. And I like to think, and I can speak for those of us that are on this panel, I like to think we gave our neophytes a better product than what we were given. And so when you ask what's changed is that we're not passing down a better alpha, a better omega, a better AKA, a better kappa, a better delta than what was given to us. We're changing it and we're making it a little bit more different than it should be, and there's no guidance. So I want to kind of, I kind of wanted to your point, you're an advisor now, and I think that's important because our advisors are the folks that are leading us after we've crossed. And I think that I want to issue a challenge to anybody, any older Greeks that are listening to this. You got 10 years or more in, and you pledged an undergrad, you crossed an undergrad, go tap back in with your undergraduate neos. Tap back in with the younger Greeks and see how they're doing. See what you can do to help their advisor advise them. because they need to see more of us.
Oh, they do.
Because when they see us and they hear how we talk and the encouragement and positivity we can give around why we did things the way we did it, then that helps them to understand there's good change and then there's not so good change. So I think that is what's changed. They're changing and nobody's advising or nobody's really guiding them on why we were doing what we did.
And that's a great point, Chris. Actually, I think it's always good to connect, the dots, keep the dots connected. I think that's also an issue. And then I want to go into this next segment of the conversation. What's the beef? Because you spoke of advisors. A lot of times, advisors come from graduate chapters. A lot of times, graduate chapters, people crossed in that graduate chapter. And I was gonna say my brother Maurice crossed the graduate chapter. Wasn't something that he necessarily wanted to do, but he went to his college and he wasn't there.
Right.
I admire the fact that as soon as he got an opportunity to, his father, so it was like he crossed there, but he was able to still be raised by a man of Kappa Alpha Psi, where you know what you got a part of, and you know what you got a part of. It wasn't like, oh, I love this, I'm going to be. It was like, no, I was raised by this.
Yeah,
this
guidance.
It's still another level of being brought in the right way. But I think a lot of times we have advisors who didn't cross undergraduate. A lot of times advisors are bitter because of that dynamic, and then they come into these chapters. Like you said, reach back, and they're not allowing people to reach back.
Yeah,
That's true too.
Because they think, oh, they doing this, they doing this, they doing this, they doing that. When the reality of it, a lot of times people ain't trying to do nothing but help and say, no, do it this way, or let me give you another option. Go your way. I know y'all YOLO. I be trying to stay hip with the young folks. I'll be like, okay, I wouldn't have did that. I wouldn't wear that, but I know y'all. One thing that was big for me when I became the advisor was nose rings. I was just like, it wasn't a thing when I was in school for males to have nose rings. I mean, Tupac had nose rings, but Tupac was Tupac.
Tupac was pop.
Yeah.
Tupac.
But we didn't have nose rings and stuff like that. But now, these generation, they had nose rings.
For sure.
And it was something I had to be like, I'm not going to judge his brother by that. That's
right.
He may be a great asset. Some of them were. So I think it's a great opportunity to connect those dots. But I think a lot of times we have the issue of the grad versus the undergrad. And a lot of times, I know I'm in the grad chapter now, and a lot of times people jokingly or seriously say things like, undergrad going to get taken away before grad do. We do most of the work for the organization. We're the reason that organizations are prospering. Y'all don't stay active when y'all graduate. Y'all lead the organization when y'all graduate. Y'all just do undergrad. So what is that conversation like for you all? And I'm not even speaking on no active or not active. I'm speaking on just being a great representation of the organization. And what do you think the lines get blurred when it comes to grad and undergrad?
So let me piggyback on that. Besides the letters, all that, let's go back into history. If you look at the letter to William Lynch or something like that, in that letter it listed have the old versus the young and the young versus the old.
Yeah.
So I feel like where the gap is how you communicate. Sometimes higher up, they're not able to understand and meet that line with the younger to merge in and be like, hey, look, I know you're living in a different time, but I'm gonna understand you and we can still get business done. It's like, nah, like the nose ring point. Why you got a nose ring? Why you doing this? Times are changing, we're developing. So if you're not evolving and adding to this change, you're gonna get left behind.
Correct.
And I know I made my point about the children, but going back to when I was a children, seriously, I feel like my experience, I felt like a lot of times with graduate chapters, right? I think sometimes it's the thing of you forget what it's like to be young. Right? When you get older, you forget what it's like to want to have these events and why y'all got to have a party because we 23.
That's how you get your
what
money.
else are we going to do? Right. We getting the money for the chapter. Y'all want to have money, right? We going to have a party. This is what the kids on campus want to do. We get them in on a party and then we have a seminar about something about, social justice. And then we, that's how you have to give a little. But I think a lot of times when you get older, you do kind of get jaded and you do kind of get this thing where it's like, well, what y'all doing? And that's that young stuff. And I might have just contradicted myself just now, but I can see both sides is what I'm trying to say. Right. And putting myself back in the shoes when I was when I crossed in 2007, that's what it felt like to me. It just felt like, hey, let us be free. We good. We on campus. We have good grades. We're upstanding ladies on campus. And it just felt very like the reins were just so tight. And
It's really
to
like
your
different.
point, yeah, it's
really
oh
like
no,
different.
it's way different.
Yeah.
And it's the communication, and like you said, it's the communication thing too.
I was gonna say, I sat on the advisors meeting earlier this semester. I found out that the Greek advisors, like, you can lose your letters if certain things take place.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that takes like a different level of trust.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to advise a chapter on campus and trust that they'll do right and it won't backfire on you. And I think that made me understand a little bit more how the severity of being an advisor.
For sure.
Now I do understand, like, you have to, I feel like with the graduate advisors advising the undergrad, it's like tradition. Like, when I look at Sigma chapter, it's like tradition sometimes, especially these COVID babies. These COVID lines, okay? These COVID lines, okay? COVID lines. That's different. Honestly, that's all I got.
That's the word. That's the word.
That's different. And I myself, it's like, you don't even want to touch. That's dry ice. You don't even want to touch it. You don't even want to touch it. Not bare hand. No. You need protection over there.
Pray over that.
That's gonna burn you real bad. That's how I feel. And even in conversation, it's like, I don't know. When my pro fights came around, I'm up. I'm mean. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
That work.
And let's be very clear. The Sigma chapter keeps me paid. Let's be very clear. They're a majority of my clients. And if it's not them, it's them referring me to somebody.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
And I think about that and I'm like, oh my gosh.
The least I can do is get you a bottle of water.
Correct.
The least I can do is
Deference.
make you good.
Different.
Say hello.
I didn't even know deference was deference. I just was doing it.
Respect, 'cause you was raised that
But we
way.
go back to how you was raised.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
But again, COVID babies.
But I think to
problem.
what you said, I think what you said was real about, like, it's the trust factor, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the trust got to work both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so
does.
just thinking about that time period, I feel like we weren't even given a lot of like even the opportunity to show that we could be trusted.
Because I do feel like during our time, like, we weren't bad. We weren't even doing off the chain stuff. Compared to what goes on now. What? Literally, even down to the way people dress. I'm again befuddled. That's the new word for me. Because
it is
what's
Fashion
going on?
Nova every day on that campus.
It's not even.
Not the line.
Honestly, it's not even Fashion Nova. It's like Frederick Hollywood.
It be Fashion Nova.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, coming to HBCU, I'm like, man, they going to class like that?
Correct.
And we went to class in our pajamas. So I just understand the difference. Like, we was going to class in sweats and pajamas.
Yeah.
Like, dress up. You have your times you dress up, of course. But we were in there chilling. Like, these guys, I'm like, how do y'all get up every day and get dressed like it? Hair laid, bust down, just down to the ground. Just
Correct.
Face beat. 9 a.m.
No
bless
clothes
y'all.
on. 9 a.m.
It's cold too.
Butt cheeks out. Like,
Boldly out.
where are we going?
9 a.m.
That's so crazy that we sit here and talk about that stuff now. Like you said, people before us probably looked at us and said the same thing.
Yep.
But it's got to a level now where it's so extreme that when you look at membership and say, like, oh, you come up to somebody and say, I want to be a part, I deserve. It's almost like I told you that this generation is more so like, no, what do you mean?
Give me.
It's laughable.
Give me your letters. I came to college.
Give me guys shot.
I meet the requirements
Around here.
on the paper.
Right.
It said this. I guess I did community service last week. Okay. I got the GPA. So what's up? And it's like,
Something about your
What were you
spirit.
doing? What were you doing before that?
Like,
before you was
yeah.
trying to join, what were you doing? That'd be my main question. Like, were you actually actively working?
and were you doing it for yourself, or were you just doing it so you can join?
But
Go ahead.
But I'll just short point real quick. But what I'll do is I'll say, let's go back to the community though, right? There are all of our organizations represented in our communities. What are we doing in our communities to set the proper example of what this really is?
And and I think that's where we're at that period.
Right.
It's like,
because these babies are coming to school. To your point, Bree, I didn't realize until maybe about 5 years ago, I was a kid when I met y'all. we were all kids, but our parents had raised us to be mature to the point where we thought we were adults.
Yeah.
Really, we was really kids and young adults.
I was walking around campus, I was somebody mentor. How mentor you when we in the same class?
You always been everybody.
Right.
You came in the world of mentor.
A mentor.
Okay.
But
That's your birth certificate.
But to your point about you being a mentor, right? And some of my big brothers, right? Spring 07 Beta Psi, Hassani, Thomas, Omar, those brothers, they were mentors to me. But you know what? They built on what I already learned in my community from the other cues that I saw. So I want us to all be careful, calling out what the younger generation is doing before they become Greek and how they coming to us, because we're not really setting a good example in our communities of this is what this is. Some of us acting a fool too.
Fair. Oh yeah.
Right. And so when they come to school, they don't have any respect. I'm not gonna lie, I feared the Qs when I came to Clark. Because I knew the level of respect they were gonna demand. Correct. And I knew every time I interacted with them, I had to be on my P's and Q's.
Correct.
And I think a lot of the younger generation, they don't really revere or respect us the way that we respected our OGs, right? Our campus guides, right? Our mentors, and eventually they became our prophytes. But these people were not just Greek then, right? They set an example in that classroom. They set an example on those royal courts. They set an example in basketball, football, whatever they were in, they set that example. And I just think that we got to be mindful in our own communities when we go out and these younger people in high school, middle school, they seeing us. What are we doing?
That they see, because that's what attracts them.
Correct.
So if the first party you went to, if the first thing you saw the Qs do in your life was a party, or you going to college expecting, I'm trying to be a part.
Right.
Or you try, and so that's a good challenge for people. But I think a lot of times also, it's the upbringing, but it's also social media. And I want to get into that topic about it's also social media of like glamour, like the whole joking, I'm a Boosie fan. I mess with Boosie, but the whole that wasn't funny to me. It was at no point something wasn't funny to me. But I think stuff like that makes people like feel like it's just a social organization. It's just like get my rocks off. I'm gonna go get this so I can hang with the girls.
Sitting courtside with a whole cap out.
Just chilling, thinking it's funny.
No
it's
offense, bro, but that was crazy.
Hey man, that was crazy.
But I feel like that's what's become of the world we in.
But when you came in behind somebody who was literally willing to Pinky and Crystal, I think somebody ooped at the club and they beat that brakes off of that person. Like, you come in behind that and it's like, okay, well, I ain't finna play with that. I'm not even gonna act like I'm a double clap. Ooh, do none of that around these people. It's like I said, it's a reverence you have for these people. You revere these people because, one, of course, they obtain something that you want. But, I don't know, for me, I just didn't want it. I wanted them to like me, but I wanted them to like me for the right reasons. And sometimes you gotta know what somebody is about first to be able to really like them. You know what I'm saying? I see what you're doing on campus. That makes me like you. When I look at the things on campus, I don't like it. And it confuses, like that is my biggest word right now. I think being back at CAU, for me, I'd be like scratching my head a lot. And it's a head tilt.
You ain't scratched that. You go scratch some more.
I believe it. I'm already interesting. Anyway, I just thought about Wisconsin. I didn't know it was gangster there, but I found out recently. Thugs live in Wisconsin.
That's the Midwest.
And so we talked about the beef when it comes to undergrad and grad, but we have something we call friendly competition. We always had one thing I've always had, it's not even beef, this is actually probably out of line, but Marcus, me and Marcus, when we see each other, I bark at him and he bra at me. But it's like, it's just the inside, it's just something we've always done, like since we were in school. But now, you can't even play like you can't even have a little friendly competition because I feel like the interests are competing with the other interests. Like it's almost like they're preparing to be against each other. Like it's like they're
really.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, that's crazy.
it's like okay, you want to be there?
You're not even in
No,
yet.
and so I've literally,
That's
you know what I'm
crazy.
saying?
How you got beef?
You made the joke of mentoring everybody, but no, people will come to me about and this. It's been young ladies come to me about like, well, I feel like because we don't want to be in the same. I was like, are y'all really arguing about? And neither one of y'all are in this organization, and y'all arguing like y'all already in it. And so now it goes back to like, what are the organizations doing in today's society that they feel that the beef is like real? It's like you're joining. I can't talk to Chris like because I'm an alpha and Chris can't talk to me because he's a Q and don't let your profile see you keying with people. It's like what?
That's crazy.
But it goes back to where black people, as black people, we got free, and now what we did was go back into these areas and now enslave each other.
We
like
separating each other.
Yeah. So what I want to hear from you all is like, what do you feel like has happened where the beef has become like they joke about us being organized gangs, but it's kind of like it ain't even organized no more. It's just gangs.
Well, I think it goes back to the service piece, right? All our organizations foundationally are about service to the black community. And Brandy touched on something earlier. My mother is actually Sigma chapter. And so I've been around Sigma chapter since I was born, right? And one thing my mom taught me was about black women that were leaders. Okay, she taught me that. I'm a young man. But remember, my mama teaching me this. So when I get to school and I see black women leading, it don't surprise me, right? I'm used to that. My mother's a leader. I saw her lead. She told me about other black women leading. So when I saw it, it wasn't a surprise. But when you talk about the gangs, if I've never heard that that's the foundation of these organizations to lead, then when I get to school and I see the foolishness, I think that's what we about. And if that's what I grew up in, I also have to keep in mind a lot of young black youth grow up in environments in which, for whatever reason, racism, other things have caused a divide in our communities where you may grow up where there are gangs. And so that might be comfortable for you to get to Clark, get to Spelman, and get to Morehouse, wherever you're going, and you see somebody and they acting in that manner, that may be comfortable for you to jump right in and say, you know what, that's cool. You know, I done gangbanged the street my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So that's comfortable for them. But the key part that I see is that, again, who's advising? Who's there to say, you know what, this ain't it? And when we start to, I believe in this, when you start laming out what's lame, and that becomes the norm, that's lame, we don't do that, then people will understand, like, I'm not going to get into this organization acting that way. And I also say this, we always had a healthy beef.
Yep.
Beta Sign Alpha Phi. And a lot of people don't know this, but this goes back beyond hopping and stepping. Because until 2009, the Alphas had won every step show at Clark, going back decades. But y'all, in fall 09, we actually won the step show for the first time in decades. So yeah, clap it up for Beta Sign.
Beta Sign.
I was actually on that hop team.
You did that, bro.
Get your credit.
And I knew what it took. I was alongside Bree and them at Sprite Step shows. So we did this, but we had a healthy level of competition that never got outside of where it was. Yeah. And that's because we had people like Dr. Hardy there, right? You guys' advisor that made sure that y'all knew that's cool. It's a healthy level. But on our end, you know, we had Devin White who would let us know there's a healthy level of competitions. And so any young Greeks listening to this is what healthy competition looks like. Alpha Phi wins SGA president. Then Beta Psi wins SGA president. Then it goes back to Alpha Phi for a few years. And then one of my Neos, Joey, wins SGA president. Joey. And throughout that entire time, the constant is folks like Fabe and myself mentoring these brothers. And that's what it looks like. Healthy competition in stepping, service, and in SGA and other ways. But I think that's what it is. We not showing the service is the foundation.
Most definitely. I want to tap in with the beautiful AK and the beautiful Delta that's here, because you know that's always a conversation. But before we go there, I just want to say, and then every step show after 09, the Alpha Phi. All right, go ahead.
Well, my best friend is a Delta. She did go to NC. I never even knew. My best friend is a Delta. And we actually were like, you know, we were interested in everything at the same time. She crossed a week before me. And so, you know, I've never had that kind of, and Sigma Chapter, I love me some Sigma Chapter. Like, honestly, at least I can speak for, you know, when I was there, when I was in school, like, well, I can speak for me. What's going on there? But I can speak for me. But we got along really well. And I mean, Pinky and Crystal were some of my first friends that I met when I came to Clark. Like, we used to go to dance auditions together. Like, little Club Crucial, like, dancing. And
Club Crucial.
guys, it was an audition. I don't remember before. Pinky and Crystal, sorry to bring it up. But I think some of these relationships, you know, you keep them as you matriculate. And you join these organizations and you realize, like, that's my friend. Like, so if your line sister is like, well, I don't like her because she adult, which never really happened, but let's just say your line sister like, I don't like her because she adults. I'd be like, but why? Like, that's stupid. That's my friend. Or you figure out a way to date it. This one right here, I've always embraced you with love. Like the minute I met, I was like, oh, I love you. Like, that's my baby. Like, and a lot of, specifically Sigma Chapter, like, I love them because it's just it's real. It's just real people. I think CAU at the time when we went to school just produced real ass people. So you just kind of be like, I don't care what
you ain't have no choice but to
like,
fuck
we
with
all
them.
cool.
Yeah.
And to your point, I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. But to your point of us all being rooted in service, we're all rooted in some of this. If you look at our principles, they are pretty much the same thing. It's just the words are different. So, I mean, and it's okay. You join what you want to join. Whatever aligns with you is okay. But to sit here and, like, for real, be like, I got beef. Why do you have beef? Well, because I care about service and education. So do I. So does everybody else. And so it's like you're really gonna hold yourself back if you get wrapped up in I wear pink and green. So, like, that, you know what I mean?
What do you do as a person?
I'm gonna miss out on meeting dope people that way.
But see, I want to say something. So, like I said, I'm still wet behind the ears. My dad made a comment to me. He told me every brother ain't your brother. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I done been in situations where an alpha man helped me out, or a Q, or whatever.
For sure.
So I don't understand the beef.
But that's what it's about. I think that's what it's the network. It's like not just, and I think that's, but it's like it goes back. That's the whole divine now responsibility. It needs to be presented in a way, and I've been trying to push Clark this way for a minute, but I'm done trying to push. Do y'all? I've been trying to push Clark this way for a minute. It's like the Greeks have to first get on one accord. The people that's over Greek life needs to hold Greeks to a certain standard across the board.
Correct.
And bring everybody up to that level. And then the Greeks get on one accord, and when you present Greek life to the student body, it's like no, we don't play. Not
absolutely
the alphas don't play, the Qs don't, they play a little bit. No, we don't play. I remember when I was online, developing. It was moments where it was not just the alpha thing. I was respectful to the Qs, to everybody
I was gonna bring that up too.
And then
that's real,
because they'll hit your big brother up and be like,
that's real.
Hey,
so
The minute
so
you're not doing something you supposed to be doing, they gonna tell your brother.
And so when I came
real.
into it, it wasn't nothing for me to be like when I was over the AEC pageant with Chris and Bat. I was on Chris like he was an alpha. It wasn't. I think what color he had on. But you gonna sit up here in articulatory agility until your face fall off.
I was in
you
the
need to pronounce
pageant,
your words. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like the reality of it is, I think now, like you said, there's no people helping connect the dots. But then even when they try to come and connect the dots, because I've had friends, my friend, we talk all the time, they try to connect the dots, but then you have people that's blocking the connection. So then it's like, well, I'm not going to lose my life or my letters or my livelihood for this.
Yep.
So it's almost like, what do you do? Because why do I feel like I got to push the door to a door that I came through? But I got to push the door to get back in the door. And so I think that it's so much more to talk about. We can talk forever. That's why we gotta wrap it up. I can't believe time that flew by that fast. But to wrap it up, I really want you all to just give like that real advice to like the current Greek life, not just at Clark Atlanta, but this period. Because I don't think it's just a Clark Atlanta thing. It's across the board. Yeah. The fact that there's a social media handler called Greek Shenanigans, where people live on waiting to see you mess up as a Greek or do something that you don't have no business doing. And yeah, we can laugh at it, and we all have seen the video or laughed at the video. But when we sit back and think about it, what are people who are not a part of this looking and laughing at? What are white people looking at and laughing at? What? How do we really look? You know, because we can say a Kamala Harris, we can say a Martin Luther King, we can say all these Wilson, all these people, Charlie Chisholm, but then you have what they see in front of them, and they say, "Oh, this is the same thing."
You representing it.
And so,
Right.
I feel like we have to do some kind of, even if it's small as the one-on-ones, like you said, your coworkers, even as small as like hitting one or two, like, hey, I know I can't probably come in to a chapter meeting, but y'all have to keep the standard of the organization. Y'all gotta keep the this of the organization. And it's not just about me or my chapter. Yeah, we got chapter pride and organization pride, but if we don't do something, this won't exist no more.
That's
And
real.
I really truly believe that.
That's real.
I feel like because at some point our forefathers are gone, dead, and they're gonna stop being referenced, and it's gonna be like, well, these Qs killed this man here, these alphas did this, and this boy died. And it's like, so now that becomes what the organizations look like to the world.
Yep.
And so why not vote this now? Why not say this needs to go here? Yeah, y'all did some stuff that was great at one point in time, but right now it's a detriment to the society. And I feel like we cannot let it go out like that, especially when these organizations have paved the way for our people.
In so many ways.
Our people wouldn't be what we are if these organizations were not created.
All of them.
All of them.
Collectively.
All of them.
So I want you all to end with that advice. Like, what is your advice to the young generation now that's in Greek life, not just in your organization, but in Greek life, period?
Well, I'll start off, and I'll say I want to just split mine into two. So to the young Greeks, I would say this. Y'all keep the focus on what it should be on. The focus should always be on service and building the Black community. That's what we're here for. We're here to build up our community, and we're here to serve the underserved. Our organizations have always been about making sure the disenfranchised, the disrespected, the people that are being looked at as less than outside of our community, outside of the Black and brown community, that they are served. So don't lose that. And then also, I want to say this. I do want to say, have your fun. Enjoy your time on campus, because you'll never get those NEO years back or those on-campus years back. And everybody up here will tell you what, man, listen, I don't know what I would do to have a week on the yard, just homecoming week, right? And not be a NEO, though, but just homecoming week, right, as a young bruh, because those times are fun. I would also challenge you all to be careful with these organizations because, as Bree says, they're fragile. They're over 100 years old. And with anything that's lasted this long, you have to protect it. And also like to say to older Greeks, be the advisors, be the protectors of your neos. Go back, help them, guide them, encourage them, and bridge those gaps. Because believe it or not, y'all, they love us. They want to see more of us, and they deserve to see more of us because we didn't do this on our own. We were guided as well. So young Greeks, do your thing, do it safely. Be proud of the letters that you have on your chest, and protect your brand. That's what I would say.
I would just say be a reflection of the world you want to live in. I think Bernie made a point earlier just about like being on campus, being involved in so many different things. You become a network, right? Any campus that you're on, again, you have people who, okay, I'm running for SGA president. Next thing you know, that person wants to be the mayor of their hometown. You know what I mean? Or, whatever you want to do. If you're involved in a theater program, if you're the person always in different things, you might be the next person, win an Oscar, whatever. So at the end of the day, like, be a reflection of the world that we say that we want to live in, which means you have to respect these letters. You have to respect the network as well. Respect each other, because to have beef for what? That's a problem just in our community, period. Is us finding reasons to hate each other, hate on each other, to keep each other out. And so reach down, help people, reach up, help people, reach to the side, work, alongside each other. Because at the end of the day, if we take these letters off, nobody knows what we are. You know what I mean? So when you do have them on, especially, and when you don't have them on, wear them with pride. And I think just be a better reflection of what we say we're standing for and what we want to see.
I think my advice would be just be more receptive to what's being thrown at you. The people before you, some give good advice, some don't. Find the right person to talk to so they can make sure they take you under their wings.
That's real.
Amen. That's the key.
And just continue to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's going to be fun. You're going to party, do all that. But you know, if you was lame before the letters, you gonna be lame after too. You know what I'm saying?
Message.
Can't unlame the lane.
Yeah, so don't get caught up.
You're still lame. And that's okay.
We all got lame members, right? They're great too.
But don't forget the main message is to keep working. For us, it's inspire, service, and public interest. Like, don't forget that.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say be more intentional. Be more intentional about the things that you're doing, the things that you're producing as a chapter, as a person. One thing I learned about identity as a speech major, right? The things that you do, you can't really take off. Like being a Delta, regardless of whether I take the letters off, you mentioned once you take it off, nobody knows you're a Delta. But if it's in you, it really doesn't matter.
It's not what's
whether
on
the
you, it's
letters
what's
are
in
on.
you.
Right.
Exactly.
No matter whether you have them on and they're showing, if it's in you and you're operating the way you should be operating as a human being, it's on you. What they say, I got the oil. It's on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the best way I could say it. Be intentional about the things that you're doing because that's going to allow you to set yourself apart, set your organization apart, do the things that are necessary to bring back that old vibe of Martin Luther King Jr. fighting for civil rights. Anybody doing the things that they were doing at that time, things are still going on right now that we kind of bypass because we're so caught up on what's going on social media and the stuff that really is irrelevant to advance people as a humankind. So I think that that's intention. People's intention and why they're doing the things that they're doing.
Yeah,
if you know you're not finna do nothing but double clap and ooh, don't join.
Just keep doing it in your room.
But please don't put it on the internet.
Watch
Don't put it on TikTok.
Watch the videos. Keep watching. What was it? Nick Cannon was in. Watch stuff like that. Watch the Greeks do that there. You know what I'm saying? What was you on?
Stepsisters.
Shout out to Stepsisters.
Do that because that's pretty much what's going on. Anyway, don't come over here being no fool because I'm gonna set it straight every time I see it. I don't have a problem pulling nobody by the hey.
What you doing?
Not in my letters.
I don't. No, I don't. And
Oh my God! Like I said, we can talk about this all day long because it's
part
something
two.
that means something to us. And I want to first thank you all so much for taking the time out of your busy life to just join me in this conversation. And I challenge each of you to continue the conversation. You know, and like I said, myself, Brandy, we are both employed at the institution, Clark Atlanta University. I challenge each of you to come back and like pour these things into these organizations because sometimes we got to look at it like if they don't know, they don't know.
Yep, that's it.
You know, it's one thing if you know better, you do better. But if you don't know, it's only so much that we can, like you said earlier, blame the young ones if we not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so we have to step our game up too and making sure that they see the examples and that they know the examples and they know that we are not going nowhere and they have to be a part of their legacy. And they have to keep the legacy going. When we're old and we're laughing and we're doing that, and we done our they have to keep it going because these organizations, I think, should be around forever because they kind of changed the landscape of African Americans forever. Like we wouldn't be the opportunities we have. We wouldn't have those opportunities if it wasn't for these organizations.
Absolutely.
They should never die out.
Never. Shout out to the Divine Nine. Shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to just Greek life as a whole. Shout out to HBCUs. Happy homecoming to everyone who's celebrating homecoming. Continue to thrive and live in this world unapologetically. Like, continue to do great things in the world. I love you. I keep you, like I say all the time, the best leader works to make even better leaders. Until next time, God bless you.